Is your English as good as it could be? Is it getting more and more challenging to find ways to improve? Today, we're going to look at some comparative structures that you can start using right now. So let's get started. The sooner the better, right? Hello learners, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the world of comparative and superlative structures. If you're an upper intermediate student and you want to improve, you want to push your English to the next level, these are some practical tips that you can use in your conversations today. So let's get into it. First off, let's just go over the basics quickly. Comparatives, as we already know, compare two different things. This computer is faster than that one. This computer is more expensive than that one. This computer is better than that one. And superlatives tell you which has the most or the least of a certain quality. This computer is the fastest. This computer is the most expensive. This computer is the best. Now, let's spice things up a bit. The first thing we can do is include some adverbs to give more precision to our comparatives. For example, one computer might be more expensive than another, but how much more expensive is it? This computer is slightly more expensive than the other. This computer is a bit more expensive than the other. This computer is a little more expensive than the other. This computer is much more expensive than the other. This computer is far more expensive than the other. This computer is a lot more expensive than the other. Simply adding these little details can help you be more precise when you're speaking, and that's what we're looking for today. Now, the good news is that we can do the same with our superlatives. For example, this computer is easily the most expensive. This computer is by far the most expensive. By far can also go at the end of the sentence. So this computer is by far the most expensive, or this computer is the most expensive by far. And they're exactly the same. Now it's your turn. I'll give you some sentences, but there's one word missing from each. Can you complete the sentences? This car is faster than the other one. This car is a lot faster than the other one. This painting is more beautiful than the other one. This painting is far more beautiful than the other one. She is the best student in the class. She is easily the best student in the class. Nice one. Let's continue. So let's take it to the next level. Remember, we also have as structures that show that two things are equal in some way. This computer is as expensive as the other computer. This car is as fast as the other car. Again, adding some adverbs can help us be more precise when we're speaking. In fact, we can think of it like a scale. My house is nowhere near as big as yours. My house is not quite as big as yours. My house is nearly as big as yours, or my house is almost as big as yours. My house is just as big as yours. My house is exactly as big as yours. We can even include some numbers to help with this comparison. My house is twice as big as yours. My house is 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as big as yours. Just be careful, we have an error check here. Remember, when we're using the as structures, we go with the base form of the comparative. So my house is as big as yours, not my house is as bigger as yours. That's incorrect. We need the base form of the comparative. Now, in informal English, if you visit the UK and you're talking to people on the street, you might hear not half as. This is quite informal. It has the same meaning as nowhere near as. So for example, the film is not half as good as the book. which means the film is nowhere near as good as the book, which means the book is a lot better than the film. Now it's your turn again. I'll give you some situations and you can use as plus the adverbs we talked about before to think of some possible comparative structures. Let's go. She and I earn the same amount of money. She earns just as much money as I do, or she earns exactly as much money as I do. I am 180 centimeters tall and she is 175 centimeters tall. She is almost as tall as I am, or she is nearly as tall as I am. Final example, she is a wonderful singer and I am a terrible singer. I am nowhere near as good a singer as she is, or I am not half as good a singer as she is. Both are possible. Let's really level up. In this last section, we'll look at double comparatives. This is really key if you want your spoken English to sound natural. There's actually two ways of doing this, so let's get started with the first. If we want to give emphasis to a comparative, we can just repeat the comparative. Televisions are getting cheaper and cheaper every year. The students' exam results are getting worse and worse. Electric cars are becoming more and more commonplace. Here we have an error check. If we're using a long adjective, one that takes more or less in the comparative form, we don't repeat the adjective. So for example, it's correct to say houses are getting more and more expensive, but not houses are getting more expensive and more expensive. That's not correct. We don't repeat the adjective. You just repeat more. Secondly, we have the really advanced stuff, structures using the and the. We use these to describe a relationship where two things change or develop together. For example, the more expensive the hotel, the better the service. The faster you drive, the more likely it is you'll have an accident. For some of you, it might sound strange to hear the plus the comparative rather than the superlative. For example, the faster rather than the fastest, the more expensive rather than the most, but it's absolutely correct in this structure. And in fact, there's lots and lots of common expressions that work in this way. For example, the more the merrier. Can I invite my friend to your party? Of course you can. The more the merrier. The sooner the better. When does this project need to be finished by? The sooner the better. There you have it. That's how we can take the comparatives and superlatives that you already know, introduce some new structures, and push your English to the next level. Now remember, practice makes perfect, so don't hesitate to try and get these into your conversations. The sooner the better. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks to help improve your English. Happy studying, and we'll see you next time.